Hey y'all, Tanny Cooks here, and today I'm going to show you how to roast some absolutely delicious oxtails. So let's get to cooking. We're going to cook these oxtails in our oven, so it's going to be super easy. Now I'm starting off with about 6 pounds of oxtails. You can see they cost me $10.29 a pound. Each pack is just under 2 pounds, so about 3 large oxtails per pack. Some of them have some smaller ones in there. For veggies, I'm going to use green bell peppers, onions, celery, and garlic. Seasoning, I'm going to use chicken broth. You could use beef if you have that. Garlic powder, thyme leaf, oxtail seasoning. This oxtail seasoning you've seen me use before. It contains sea salt, pepper, thyme, celery seed, allspice, paprika, sugar, onion. And I'm also using this hickory smoked salt by Viva Doria. I have a link to this in the description. You can order it from Amazon. It is absolutely awesome. So starting off, I'm going to wash my produce, and you see me do this all the time with white vinegar and water. So you just want to get some movement in the bowl to help stimulate the cleaning process. To do that, I am using my veggie brush to rub down my bell peppers to make sure there isn't any waxy coating still on it. I'm also cleaning my lime. Now these are my oxtails. I took them out of the pack. You can see that there is some excess fat on most of the pieces that we will trim off some of that during the cleaning process, but not all the fat will we remove. Some fat is flavor. So we're going to start off with clean water, and I'm just going to place each oxtail in the water. I'm not going to let them soak for too long, just long enough to get all the oxtails submerged, and then add my other cleaning agents. You know that I like vinegar, white vinegar for one. Look at how pretty that oxtail is. I didn't actually start eating oxtails until I was an adult. Let me know in the comments below if you grew up eating oxtails as a kid. I find that very interesting. But I am squeezing some of the lime. So I cut my lime into 4 wedges, and I'm squeezing the lime juice. Now, in addition to lime juice, I'm using white vinegar. You can use either or. You can use just citrus juice or just vinegar, or both like I did here. I am rinsing off each piece to make sure there are no gritty parts anywhere, and then I'm sitting it off to the side out of the water, vinegar, lime mixture. Now, after all of my oxtails are out, look at this water. This is the reason why we clean it, because there is some debris that needs to be cleaned off. Next up, I'm going to get started with my vegetables. So I'm going to use a yellow onion and give this a nice chop. If you have a red onion, you can certainly use that. If you have green onions, I would use those closer towards the end or for garnish, but you can certainly use multiple types of onions that you prefer. So as I always say, when you're cutting your vegetables, take your time. You don't have to rush with a knife. The most important thing is just that you get the vegetables cut without cutting yourself. So after I cut up my onion, I have my bell pepper. I love the green bell pepper, has such a delicious flavor with beef. I love, bell peppers of all colors, the red, orange, yellow, but it's something about that green bell pepper that has a very distinct flavor that I like, especially when it's cooked with beef. So I'm cutting this open in a way to try and keep all of the seeds in the core and not have them splattered all about my cutting board. And let's see how I did. There you have it. I have my bell pepper cut and no extra seeds. They're all in the core, which is exactly what I want. So now I'm giving it a slice, not too thin, because as we cook these in the oven with our meat, they're going to shrink down as they release some of their moisture. So I'm cutting them into medium-sized slices, but you can cut your vegetables however you prefer. So I have 3 bell peppers that I'm going to cut up in total. I also have some celery. Celery is naturally has sodium. So it's a nice flavoring agent for slow cooked dishes. I like to cut my celery in half so that I can pull apart the fibrous parts from the stalk before I slice it up here. So I'm just going to continue cutting up all of my celery and bell pepper, and here you can see it. This produce looks so beautiful before we mix it with our meat to cook. So I have my oxtails clean and dried, and this is in a 13x9 pan that I'm going to cook it in. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a moment to shave off some of the fat. So you can see I'm being careful to cut the fat without cutting off the meat, right? I don't want to throw any extra meat away. So we're not trying to get all of the fat off, just some of the excess pieces that I don't want someone to bite into and have a mouthful of fat, right? We want oxtails, not oxtail fat to chew on. Some of the fat will reduce down as we cook it, but just cut the pieces that have the most amount of fat. That piece didn't have a whole lot, so I just took one little sliver off, and that was that. So now my pan is ready. I am adding my vegetables, and I did forget to show you that I cut up several pieces of garlic to put in there, because I love it. It's absolutely delicious. And these vegetables will release their juices as they cook and help flavor our meat. So layer your meat in your pan. You want to layer your meat in one layer. And I believe this is a 13-inch by 9-inch pan. It's just big enough for me to get all of my oxtails in there. Look at that, y'all. Look at how beautiful this looks. If you're a carnivore, if you don't eat meat, then you're probably not watching this video. So now that I have my meat and vegetables in the pan, I'm going to go ahead and season it up. You could do this in a bowl, but I figured why dirty a bowl when I could do the seasoning right in my baking dish. So I'm starting with liquid smoke to be the liquid I need to help my dry seasonings adhere. I've already showed you the ingredients for the oxtail seasoning, but I showed it again in case you want to pause it to see it. Oxtail seasoning is a vegan seasoning, so you can use it on vegetables or anything else you want. I am adding my thyme leaves, which I love, and my onion powder and garlic powder. If you don't like thyme, you can use the herb you like. So if you like rosemary, you can use that. If you like Italian seasoning that is a combination of Italian herbs, you can use that. So it's your food. You can season it how you like. I seasoned just one side, and now I have a gloved hand on that I'm just rubbing the seasoning and the liquid smoke onto both sides. And then on the side with the least amount of seasoning, I have that up top so that I can add more seasonings as needed. I don't measure the seasonings as a soul food cook. Just add enough that is covered and it smells good to you. You can be generous with all your dried seasonings except for salt and pepper, of course, because those are very pungent. So if you add too much, it's hard to take away. So just be cautious with those two seasonings if you choose to add them at this point. So now I'm adding in my vegetables, and I'm just wedging them in between my meat. Look at how gorgeous these colors are of the vegetables. Onions, bell pepper, garlic, and celery. So now that I have all of that added here, I'm going to add my salt. So this is the hickory salt. You can see that might be half a tablespoon, maybe 2 teaspoons at most, because I choose to be reserved with salt while I'm cooking. At the end, I'll taste it again. And if I need to add more salt or feel like it, then I can do it at the end. So this is my OXO measuring cup. I'm adding about a half a cup of water. Basically, you want to add enough water to maybe come up halfway to your oxtails. You don't want to completely submerge them. We're not making a soup. We just want them to have enough liquid to help cook and steam the meat to get very tender. And then I'm adding foil, and we're going to bake this at 350 degrees for about 3 hours until tender. If you have a convection oven, it might go a little bit faster for you. I'm using parboiled rice, white rice from Sam's Club, so I don't rinse it first. I'm cooking this in my rice cooker with lower sodium chicken stock, which still has a bit amount of sodium, so I'm not adding salt to this rice. I'm going to season my pan with a bit of olive oil. And then I'm adding 2 cups of rice and 4 cups of liquid. The liquid here is 32 ounces of lower sodium chicken stock. I love this rice cooker, so I'm just giving it a stir to make sure all of the rice is mixed with the liquid. And then all I have to do is press the power on button and then the white rice button and let it cook. When it's finished, look at how beautiful this rice is. All of the pieces are separated, and then after 3 hours, look at how amazing my roasted oxtails look, y'all. It's so tender. Stick your fork in it and look. And look at the pan juices. This is so delicious over my rice. I didn't even bother to try and thicken it to make a gravy. The juices were delicious with the meat and the rice as is. This is a very easy to prepare soul food dish, but the flavor is amazing. Look at that, y'all. Let me know in the comments if you decide to bake you off some oxtails, and let me know what seasonings you used. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel.